Hello and welcome to the Be Your Own podcast. I'm your host, Joanna Jensen, and founder of Be Your Own, the global media hub of all things entrepreneurship and career navigation. As you know, this podcast is all about highlighting incredible women out there doing awesome things. Hello and welcome back. This is episode 3 of season 2 of the Be Your Own podcast. And today I'm joined by Joanna Jensen, the founder and executive chairman of the UK's #1 baby and children's toiletry brand, Child's Farm. Almost 10 years ago, Joanna Jensen developed a range of skin and hair care products for her daughter's sensitive skin and flyaway hair, which launched in 2012 as the brand we know today, Child's Farm. A brand born out of desperation, award-winning Child's Farm is now the UK's #1 toiletries brand and is selling all across the globe. Having seen a huge potential to grow and expand into other markets, Joanna decided to launch Farmologie in July 2020 as a sister brand to cater towards maturer skin. As we are all very well aware, very few businesses have overnight success stories, so I'm really excited to pick her brain about how she's amassed so much success for the brand in such a short amount of time. So now, onto the podcast. I was in Tesco's the other day and I saw Child's Farm and I was like, Joanna is going to be interviewing on the Be Your Own podcast and her brand is everywhere. You are sold literally everywhere.
We're in about 8,000 stores in the UK, so we're in every grocer, from Superdrug, Boots, Lloyd's, pharmacies. We're absolutely everywhere, and we've been we've been very lucky, but we've also had amazing products that the great British public has totally got behind, and we're now the biggest brand in the category. We're bigger than J&J, which, bearing in mind we first launched into Boots and Waitrose in 2014, it's been pretty quick. And, we're a British brand with 2 brass farthings to rub together when we started. I mean, literally, I had to pay the staff, so I had to go and sell my engagement ring, because it was, everything. When you're working in a sort of in personal care, you can't just buy 100 bottles. You've got to buy them in their thousands of units. And so before you know it, all of your cash is tied up in stock. And you don't know when it's going to sell through. So it's a real game of, hedging your bets when you first start up. And it continues to be so, but particularly when you're there and then you suddenly realize you don't actually have any money left. So it's been very, very, very quick for us, but hugely rewarding, and we've done incredibly well.
So firstly, thank you for joining us today on the Be Your Own podcast. But let's talk about the Child's Farm and Farmologie journey, because you came from an investment banking background. So how did you launch Child's Farm, which is now the UK's #1 baby skincare line, and also Farmologie, which is the sister brand?
Well, it's my background was actually investment banking. So it was a sort of a real change for me, but it's like a lot of these brands that come up, artisan brands, and particularly in the UK, it's from a needs basis. And I had 2 little girls who had really bad atopic eczema when they were born. My youngest, Bella, in particular. I mean, the options I were given were steroid cream and that was about it, really. I mean, poor child was allergic to everything. And it felt completely wrong to me. We'd been brought up, my sister and I, by our slightly batty mother, who we never went to the doctor. We went to the homeopath. We always used natural and organic food ingredients in everything that we did. So to have a child with eczema and be given the only choice of giving them a steroid cream, I wasn't happy with. And I wanted to find a natural product I could use on their skin and their hair as well, because, your scalp is prone to irritation as well. And I simply couldn't find anything. And even the natural and organic stuff, it sort of smelt of mung beans and flip-flops. And you just sort of thought, well, that's no fun at all. So in a mad moment, I decided to do it myself. worked with a fantastic guy, Tom Allsworth, who is one of the founders behind Revolution Makeup, funnily enough now, and is a great friend. He and I worked on it. He became our first manufacturer and still does manufacture for us. He understood exactly what I was looking to do. And so in 2012, we started selling on a website, managed to get some, listing in Ocado, a listing on Amazon. But it was 2014 when Boots and Waitrose took the products. And at the same time, in the interim, we'd been talking to Turner Media, and we created a 20-episode cartoon. Don't ask me why. I still, to this day, don't quite understand what I was thinking. But the cartoon ran for 3 years on their Cartoonito channel. I also did a deal with them for advertising. It meant that we could do some above-the-line spend when it was still very important. Social hadn't taken off by then. It was very important to get a listing, and that's ultimately what sealed us our listing in Boots and Waitrose. Things sort of kept going from there. The feedback on the products was they were so fantastic on eczema-prone skin. And I was encouraged by somebody at Waitrose to put them through a clinical safety test, which we duly did. And that allows us to say that they're suitable for newborns and upwards, dry, sensitive and eczema-prone skin, all of these things. And all of these results were verified by a dermatologist and pediatrician. And so things were going really well. But as I said to you before, we had, 2 buttons and a piece of string to rub in our sort of pocket of spend. And we were very reliant on word of mouth and people saying nice things about us. We started using social media. We were very early adopters, and so were our young mums who were using the products. And it was back in 2017 when the absolutely wonderful Paige Sweeney posted a photograph of her daughter Evie's hands, before Child's Farm and after Child's Farm. And Evie was riddled with eczema, and it showed a completely different hand. And that was shared on Facebook 35,000 times. It took us a while to recover our stock, because you can imagine we didn't have that level of stock to be able to supply so much interest. And just as we'd got that sorted, really by the beginning of 2018, another lovely lady called Lauren Gray posted a photograph of our baby moisturizer, saying, "My mother bought me this and it cured my psoriasis in 24 hours. Now that was shared 65,000 times on Facebook.
Wow.
It went completely potty. Our sales team here became customer services and just making sure that everyone got the orders that they wanted. We had phone calls from the CEOs of some of the top 4 grocers saying, "Please, can you ensure that our orders go through?" It was like locusts stripping the shelves at Tesco's. It was total madness. But those 2 peaks established our brand in a way we could have never have done with a TV ad campaign or an out-of-home campaign. We didn't have the money to spend. And the algorithm on Facebook at that stage was really agnostic. And it meant that if somebody really liked your post, it could fly. And it totally established our brand. And it established our brand globally. And so through all of that, as we were doing wonderful things for mums, little ones, because we do baby and we do child, we do skin and we do hair, always in the back of my mind was, what's in it for me? I want something for me. How can I stop my skin, which is sensitive, being irritated? And so Farmologie was always, and I registered the name about 4 years ago, it was always going to happen, and it was just about timing. What we weren't expecting, though, was launch Farmologie in Boots in the middle of a pandemic. And how it's performed, I'm absolutely thrilled. But it was very much as well, I wanted something for my skin, but so did all of our mums who were buying the Child's Farm products. And of course, we discovered probably 27% of the people buying Child's Farm were adults to use it for themselves. So we knew there was a market there. And hence we created Farmologie. It's only just begun. We launched in July. There's so much more to come. It's all incredibly exciting. The feedback has been tremendous. And, our ambition to be a natural, a sustainably sourced, a sustainably packaged brand for people with dry, sensitive, and even eczema prone skin is really coming to light. And we're incredibly proud of what we've managed to achieve, even though, the odds were stacked against us this year to get this done.
At that time, you had Johnson & Johnson's, Neal's Yard and Burt's Bees and a few others. But how did you stack up against it? And did you always know from the very beginning that you was ready to take on such big competitors within the market?
Oh, blind ambition.
I love it.
Sometimes I think if you stop there and you try to analyze what you're trying to achieve, you would just scare yourself witless, and you wouldn't, you wouldn't put your toe in the water. I mean, you know what it's like. I mean, you're an extremely experienced entrepreneur. Sometimes you just have to say, I know in my gut this is the right thing to do. And I knew that we could do whatever we wanted with this brand. We could achieve whatever we wanted with this brand. And I totally believed in it. So I think you have to be a little bit potty maybe, but it's that self-belief. And I think, do you feel the same? It's that you just know in your heart of hearts that what you're doing is the right thing.
I would say it's healthy to a degree to look at what others are doing in the industry, but I wouldn't sit and obsess about it. And I guess only from the standpoint of looking at, okay, what are they offering into the market? What can I do? How can I offer a solution that they're not currently offering? What is their value proposition?
We have when I onboard new people here, I have a video of one of my children running in a hurdles race at an athletics meet. And she's the only person doing the hurdles race. And she runs this race all on her own, and she gets a personal best at the end of it. And my takeout from this is stick to your own plan. Don't be distracted. Look at where you're going and achieve. Don't look and see what everyone else is doing. Who cares? Who cares what they're doing? They're just a distraction. Do your plan, run your path, and you too can blow the lights out.
And how much of other people's opinions influence your own decision-making process?
Well, I have to say, I think in this circumstance, you need a committee of one. I went to see one highly respected FMCG expert who took one look at my Child's Farm bottles and said, these are far too busy, they'll never sell. And I said, thank you so much for your input. And I walked away, literally walked away, tosser. And I just thought, what the hell do you know about this market that I'm going into? You've done tea, you've done mouthwash, you've done all sorts of incredible things, but you're telling me that something that I know instinctively is brilliant, I can't. And you had to. I was in my 40s when I started this business, so I trust my own judgment, and I'm one of those people that always trust my own judgment. There are a couple of things when I haven't wanted to do them, and wipes was one of them. And a retailer really wanted us to do wipes, and we did it against my better judgment, because I just felt that we shouldn't be doing wipes full stop from a sustainability perspective and an environmental perspective. And we did it for a year, and then we stopped making them. And one of the things that you learn early on, it'd be interesting to see your perception on this, having had that experience, is trust your own judgment. Trust in yourself. If you can't believe in your product 100%, if you therefore can't sell it with complete conviction, and if you have any doubts about the thing that you're doing, it will fail. You've got to be 100% behind it. No matter what anyone says to you, if you're still 100% behind it, you stick to your guns. And, everyone's entitled to an opinion. Doesn't mean to say that they're right. And I had someone the other day trying to tell me I needed to do something with the brand. And my sister actually pipped up and said, do you know what? She's managed to do something that none of the rest of us have done. And do you know what? She's followed her gut the entire way. If she feels we need to have it in pink with orange spots on, let's do it like that.
I love that.
And I looked at her and I thought, cranky, that's quite punchy from you. But it's quite right. Some people instinctively know what's going to work. And what we then have to do, if you are one of those people, you have to listen to your inner you and say, if somebody's saying something and you feel that you are then compromising what you truly believe in, ignore them. go back to what you believe in and what you know is the right thing. Does that resonate with you?
That completely resonates, because I never question my brand's integrity. I never question what my mission is as a brand. I make sure that we are fully in line and aligned with the purpose of why we set out to do what we're doing at Be Your Own. And yes, absolutely, baby wipes, hand wipes, they just, I don't think they do a really great job of cleaning. They just smudge it all around. It's just,
So if you think about it, it's just full of water, and then they have a bit of a preservative in there, but they can be in the sun, they can be, I just think they're little breeding grounds of nastiness, if I'm being brutally honest. And people, particularly mums, you're putting your hand in and you might have poo on your hand and you're infecting the rest of the pack. Not a huge fan.
no.
And they're not great for your skin anyhow. Should be avoided, and they are appalling for the planet. And this is the thing, we have some really strong values and ethics around this business, which constitute you becoming a child's farmer. And it's everything to do with how things make you feel. So the products need to be fun. They need to bring a smile to your face. When you smell the product, it's got to remind you of something which is a happy thought. So we use a lot of tangerine oil that we always called happy juice when we used to burn it in the house. And it sort of reminds you of Christmas stockings and holidays and somewhere hot. We use strawberry and mint, and that's to remind you of the summer. Rhubarb and custard smells like the sweets. There's something about, fragrance is hugely important and emotive. But we want to use fragrance which is non-irritant, so it doesn't hurt your skin. So whilst we use a lot of synthetic fragrances, there's a reason for that. They give you the fragrance, but they also, they don't irritate your skin. But others, we do use natural organic essential oils, which are important because they bring other properties to you. They won't irritate your skin, but they may help, calm your mind before bed. Tangerine is a classic for this. It calms your mind before bedtime and allows your body to just relax a little bit. And all the ingredients that we use, we don't compromise. We know where every single thing comes from. We try to use community-sourced ingredients. So our organic coconut oil, for example, comes from a community idea in the Philippines, where to make sure that the coconut farmers get much better paid for their coconut oil, rather than just delivering the coconuts, there's a community-run press which deals with 50 small farmers. And that means that they're selling the ready pressed oil on, not the coconuts, which is a huge uplift into what they can achieve. Some products like the Farmologie, which you love, we use colloidal oat oil, which is a byproduct of the food industry. And again, that's run as a cooperative in Sweden. So we really think about where our ingredients come from. We think about our packaging. So our bottles are 100% ocean-bound plastic. So that, again, a community initiative. It's from developing nations. Communities can go and clear plastic out of rivers, tributaries, areas that are on their way to the ocean. They can take it to a depot and be paid in cash in hand for the plastic they've collected. We then turn that plastic into our bottles, which are then 100% recyclable. Even our new pumps on Farmologie, they contain no metal, in which case you can put the whole thing into your curbside recycling to be recycled. So all of these elements of, I always said, if we're creating something from children who are, going to inherit this planet from us, let's make sure we do the right thing for them. And it doesn't mean to say we've got as far as we want to get with our packaging, with our sustainably sourced ingredients. Far from it. We've put in a 3-year manifesto in order to get to a place where we feel we've done the best when it comes to our packaging, when it comes to our ingredients. But also, most importantly, anything that we create, it has to work. It has to make a difference to people's skin. It has to help them feel happier in their skin before they use the product. So achieving all of those things is success for us. And if this means we can change the other people in our competitive marketplace, who are, without exception, huge international pharmaceutical companies, if we can put them on a road to change and the way that they look at their packaging, that they look at in their ingredients, that looks like success to me. And vegan, cruelty-free, again, run through everything that we create. We think about everything. We join those dots. We want to give you, the consumer, the best experience you can have, knowing that those products are fabulous for your skin, but the best they can be for the planet.
It doesn't seem like you take any prisoners, but what are some of the mistakes and challenges that you faced along the way?
Oh, bless you. Well, as well as anyone, if the path to success ran smoothly, everyone would be doing it. Your resilience is challenged every moment of the day. I mean, just before we launched into boots and weight trays, we had to sell our house and I got divorced. So I had to sort of move between meetings, if you like. So that was quite stressful. We had cash flow issues. I had somebody who was due to invest in the business who pulled out 3 days before. Darling Tom Allsworth, Revolution Tom, came and basically rescued me and bankrolled me until we could get back on our feet. There is always cash flow. I mean, there's never enough cash. There is always quality problems. You can't get the stock you need. You can't get a lid that you need. Something's been delayed. Something that was meant to have left port 6 weeks ago never left. There's always those interested issues. Finding the right staff, working for a fast growing business is not everyone's cup of tea. And we look for high achievers here. We look for people that can just hit the ground running straight away. And it's not for everyone. So building a business comes with multiple challenges. And as you grow to different stages, some people just can't go to that next stage. And it's all encompassing. And at the same time, for me personally, I was doing all of this, plus I had 2 young children and I was on my own. So I sort of, every day I would say, I've got a roof over my head, I've got food in the fridge. Yes, I face a lot of challenges, but I am so much in a better position than so many others. And I think it's a case of learning to thank God, the universe, the world for what you do have, and for keeping you safe and well, and making sure that you put things into perspective. Because, I always remember I'm not a rocket scientist and I'm not saving people from tumours or debilitating disease. We make shampoo, we make bubble bath, but we make it to the best of our ability. But I'm a perfectionist, so I get sucked up into the whole thing and can get sucked into the weeds very easily. And that's another challenge that we face. And you are constantly learning how to be better at things. And that's everything. And, I have a coach now who helps me sort the wheat from the chaff. And, whenever I have to make a big decision, I talk to her to understand about, for her to challenge me about the different routes I can take to making that decision. So it's helpful to find someone, a mentor, someone you can talk to. I do some mentoring for Imperial College, for some brands that have come to me directly. And it's that in itself allows me to remember the challenges I faced when I started my business and be in a position to cut them out for others. So, some conversations I have that with people that took me 6 months to find out the answer, when I was doing it myself, I can tell them in 6 minutes. And, if I can negate those challenges for other people, that looks like success to me.
There's definitely a big rise in seeing lots of people have career changes at a later age and launch businesses. You mentioned that you was 40 when you launched Child's Farm. What would be your advice for anyone, not just women, but anyone who's looking to just do something that they've always felt passionate about, even if it's in a completely different industry field?
Yeah, pick the brains of as many people as you can. And I think, don't be shy about dropping somebody a note through LinkedIn, because we've all been there. We've all been there when we've been desperate to have someone who can talk to us and who can help someone out. So don't be shy about doing that. There are loads of forums out there that can help you as well. I think there's Every Woman is a great platform for asking advice from professionals. And when you know what it is that you want to do, believe in yourself. There are ways of getting investment that you can look at, and you can do it through getting third-party investment. You can get it through, well, I'm not sure you can get it through a bank at the moment, but, certainly angel investors can help you. There are grants available through local councils as well for new businesses that are starting up. So investigate, how you can finance it, and get on the computer and look at different ways of financing. There are plenty of them out there, but also don't be afraid to ask lots of questions of lots of people. It allows you to get your thoughts in order, and you can understand whether what you're thinking about doing has got legs, or whether it's a nice idea and let somebody else run with it. My top tip is don't get involved into anything that means you have to make loads of stock well in advance, which is what I did. And then you realise that you don't actually make any money for years. And, you've got to believe in it. You've got to believe in it wholeheartedly, but understand that you do give up a lot to run your own business, as you know. You do give up a lot. And if you are a woman and you have got children, you've got to be conscious that that is going to affect them. But it affects them positively as well, because you become a wonderful role model to showing them that, exactly what women can achieve.
Okay, so answer this. At what point do you throw in the towel? Because we both know that entrepreneurship is really super difficult. It's hard, it's tiresome, it can be a very, very lonely road, especially if you don't have a great support group around you. But at what point do you say, okay, this realistically is just not working? Do I still push through? Am I just at the tipping point, or do you just say, okay, this is just really not working?
That's a brilliant question. That is a brilliant question, Samana. I've had to have this conversation with someone once when I told them I think they need to chuck in the towel. And they were wonderful couple. They'd put all their money into this venture. They had retired, and it wasn't happening. And they were at a sort of critical point. And I said, I think now is the time to say, to just stop, because, neither of you got the energy to put the level of work that needs to go into this in. You should be quietly enjoying your retirement and not putting all of your assets at risk. It's tough. And I think deep down, that. But I also think, look, I had a business that was on the right trajectory, and the business that I'm in is very hard to make money out of. It's a volume-driven business. But you have to do a clear business plan and set yourself clear goals. And if you keep on failing at those goals, you've got to have an honest conversation with yourself. And this is when you need friends who are not sycophantic, but are honest, who you can go and talk to. And again, this is when you can look at people that you admire and try to get hold of them through LinkedIn and sort of say, what would you do in my position? Now, it's very hard, with not huge amounts of information. But if you're having sleepless nights and the trajectory is not going as you forecast, you have to ask yourself, and this is a question a lot of people are asking themselves today, as we go into the second lockdown, you have to say, is it better for me to stop now, walk away, and come back with something else later? And the thing is, only really you know the answer to that question. But don't make yourself ill. Don't make yourself ill by trying to pursue a dream if that dream is just simply not sustainable.
I would definitely agree in saying that you need to create and invent your own future and listen to your customers to a certain extent. But at the same time, you do need to assess the market. You do need to be savvy and make responsible decisions, because it could just be that the market's not ready, or that you're not really finding a solution, and that's what people want.
And I do quite a bit at my old school, actually, of careers advice. And a lot of the sixth formers say, oh, I just want to have my own business. And you say, well, what's it going to be? Oh, I don't know, but I want to have my own business, so I don't need to go to university. And my advice is go to university.
Yeah, I would go to university.
What it is that you want to do. But if you were my child and you were hanging around the house saying, I'm going to set my own business up and I have no idea what it is, I would kick you out the door.
Yeah.
You have got to, you only set up a business when you have an absolute passion for something. It doesn't just pop into your head like a light bulb moment. Oh, I think I'll do sort of bicycle chains. Go to university, spend 3 years having fun and getting to make some new friends and waiting for the inspiration to hit you. And as you pointed out earlier, I started this business in my 40s. I'd had 2 careers prior to this. You just don't know when the inspiration bunny's going to whack you over the head. And, don't try to engineer it. Let it just come naturally.
Absolutely. We should spend more time just going with the flow and seeing where things take us. Thank you so much for allowing me to pick your brain with all these questions. It's just been such an awesome chat. Thank you once again.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and to be part of this. And I just hope if we can inspire one person with this conversation, hurrah.
Thank you so much for listening. Please let us know what you think of the show. Don't forget you can find us on both Instagram and Twitter at BEYOUROWN UK. Our email address is beyourown@beyourown.org, so make use of it and drop us an email with anything that you want to know. If you fancy reading pretty much all of the career navigation stuff we talk about here on the podcast, then head over to beyourown.org for exclusive content, interviews, tools and resources. And lastly, if you love the show, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, either on Stitcher, iTunes or Spotify. And that's it from me. See you next time.